Alright, welcome to 65th JavaScript work. We are going to create sign up form now. If you click on submit, you can see the valid error messages. Now we are going to make this valid. You need to pass the name, you need to pass the email address, you need to pass the password, re-enter the password, click on submit. So you can see all the fields are valid. What if I misspelled the password and click on submit? It says password does not match. And what if I pass the value? The length of the username is just 2. You're going to get the error message saying it should be greater than 3. What if I pass more than 10 values? Again, you are going to get the error message saying that it should not be greater than 10. Now, what if I pass the invalid email address? You're going to get the error message saying invalid email address. And again, last, if I pass this value, if I don't pass any value, you are going to say password cannot be blank. So these are the validation we are going to create in this video. Now to follow along, I'll leave the source code in the description. In case if you got stuck somewhere, just copy paste the code and follow along with me. Now to start this work, we need 3 files. The first one is index.html, the second one is style.css, and the third one is script.js. Let me create the index file first, and I'm going to name this as index2.html. Just identify the previous, just to differentiate between the two files, I'm going to give the index2.html. Now again the style sheet, which is style2.css, again .css, all files .css, and now script file script2.js. Now we need the boilerplate load exclamatory tab. Now link the CSS, link style2.css, and link the script tag script src script2.js. Cool. Now we just need the HTML. I'm going to create the container. Inside the container we are going to have the h1 saying that sign up form, and after the heading we need a form group, the form with id and class name form. So it's not a div, you need to type form. Cool, we don't need the action here. Now inside the form we need an div with class form group. This will act as a container for label and input field with id name and the small message, small tag. Here we can type error message. Cool. Now we just have to make this 3 times. This is for username, this is for email, this is for password, and this is for confirm password. Now I'm just going to copy paste the code, just in case you don't have to worry about it. I'll explain it line by line. So basically this is the container, the form is a container. So again I have just passed the id, the email again id, password again id, confirm password again id. Cool, I hope you understand the HTML. Now let's get back to the CSS. So before that, let me show you how does it looks. We are in the same folder. We have just named the file as index2.html. So this is how it looks. Now we need the font, so that's why I'm just going to copy the font. Just copy paste the font. That's it. Now if you refresh it, the font will be different. I think we have not linked it properly. Yes, we have linked it. Control shift, inspect. Okay. For all element I have to make this font. For all element, the star difference at all element. For all element I have placed the font as Roboto. Now you will see the change. Now let's start designing the container. Container is a class, so dot. We'll give the background as white. Let's give the padding 30 pixel on all sides, and choose the body, background color of black. Refresh it. Now you can see the change. Padding doesn't work. Cool. Now let's give the width to the container. Let's say 600 pixel. I think 400 pixel would be right. No. Now we are going to place this content in the center of the screen. So for that, display, flex, align items center, justify content center, and you need to give the height in order to vertically center the container. Cool. Now we have font group. Let's make the padding bottom for the font group was 20 pixel. Actually, let's see, form control, I guess, not form group. I'm sorry for that. Cool. Now inside form group we have three elements. The first one is label, the second one is input field, and the third one is small tag. Display block. Cool. Again, you can make this display block and width as 100%. Even though you don't give it display block, it will work for input field. And let's first design the h1. Inside the container we have h1, text align center, and font size you can reduce this to 20 pixel. I'm just giving it to you. Play with the font number, and margin bottom for the h1 30 pixel. Cool. I believe everything looks fine. Now let's directly get into the small. Everything seems perfect. We'll just make visibility show and visibility hidden for now. So this is how it looks without visibility hidden. Now let's add the padding to the input field on all sides. 5 would work. And the label, we need the margin bottom between the label and input field. Cool. Now you want to place this small at the extreme left, so text align left. I think it's right. I'm sorry for that. Now you have to make this display block and text align with 100% to make the text align right. Now let's style the button, width of 100% and padding of 5 pixel, and we can give the background as anything different, but not this one. I can remove the outline for the button, and border none, outline 0, border none. I can increase the font size. Let's make 20 pixel. We can click on this color. So this should work. Cool, I am leaving this to you. Now let's design the error message. Now if you want, you can reduce the size of the container to 400 or 500. 400 looks extremely professional. And if we can increase the padding of the container, I believe top and bottom 30, left and right 40. And what else we have given here? I think there is no space between the label and the input field, somewhat close. And now it's just the font size. I'm just leaving this to you. Let's directly dump into the CSS. So before jumping CSS, if the form control has class error, then the small will have the color of, I have already defined at the top. If this is error, then variable error. If it is success, then this variable. So let's check passing the error here, error small e, and success here, CCESS. Refresh it. I can see it didn't work. And by this time I want to hide visibility hidden on all elements. It should only show up when there is a success or when there is error. I'm repeating it again. By default it is going to be hidden. You can see it's hidden. It will only show up when there is error class on form control. So visibility visible. Refresh it. So only on the error it is going to show up. So now we would be adding this success and error manually, not manually, with JavaScript. I hope the JavaScript part is done. Now it's time for the the CSS part is done. Now it's time for the JavaScript. We have to get all the elements. So let me just copy paste all the element. So I have got the form, I have got the username, I have got the email, I have got the password, I have got the confirm password. Now, actually these are the steps we are going to follow. I'll leave this in the description. Now the second thing is we are going to add event listener, submit, on form. So when we click on submit, alert message will show up. MITTED. Don't go with the spelling. Click on submit. Submitted. Now after clicking on submitted, the page is going to get refreshed. We don't want that. So to stop the page refresh, ev.prevent default. Now if we click on submit, before that on the CSS, the button, cursor, pointer, refresh it. Now if I click on the submit button, the page should not refresh. Now if I remove this function and click on submit, the page is going to refresh each time I click on submit button. We don't need that. That's the reason why we have added e.prevent default. Cool. Now for the first step, if the username is blank, username.value is blank, then we are going to show a message. So error message. So if there is success, then we will be showing show success. Cool. So when the show error function is called, we would be passing the input field. Actually the document.query selector will give you the input field, passing the input field along with the error message. User name is blank, and if it is success, then we are just going to pass again the input field, not the message. So let's define this error message function. We will be getting the input field INP, the short form for input field. Now what we need to do is, we have with this input field, now we need to find where the input field is. This is the input field. Now we need to get the parent. The input field parent is form control. Again, the input field sibling are username and small tag. The input field parent is form control. How we are going to get with this input field to the parent element? That's a attribute called parent element, which will reach you to the form control, form FORM control. Now on the form control we need to add the class. So class name, so we would be adding, so this will rewrite the class, so we need to add the form and the error. So let's try clicking on submit. Actually it's blank now, so you'll be getting the message if there is no error. I think there is an error, that's why we are not able to see. Success is not defined. So let me comment this for now. Click on submit. Let me see where we have missed it. Actually it's equal, not if it is equal to double equal. So you can see error message. So this error message is coming from the static HTML. Let's make this dynamic. So by getting we have the form control now. As like we do document, we can select the parent dot query selector, and we need small tag. And inside this small tag, with the help of inner HTML, we can add the text saying that actually we are passing the message. We are passing input field and message MSG. So you can directly pass the message here. So if I click on submit, username is blank. The same way for the success message, it's really simple. Create a function. Again we will be getting just the input field, not the message, and we need to get the parent with the help of input field and make the message and rewrite the class name as success. Click on submit, type something, click on submit. Actually now it should add what? Success message on the parent. Let's see whether it is able to add. Username form control, click on submit. Let's make this blank and click on submit. So error is there. So if I type something and click on submit, actually we have not uncommented it, that's why we are not able to see the message. Type something, click on submit. So success is added. By the way, when there is success, we want the border color to be this, and when there is error, we want the border color to be this. Refresh it, submit. I think there is no border color. So let's first get into the input field. Border 1 pixel solid black by default. There is no change of color when there is, actually we are adding this on input field. We should not add this on input field, we need to add this on actually we should not add it on small tag but on input field. Cut this paste here, and when there is error on parent, the input field should have the color, water color. Press it, click submit. Now I can see the change of color. If there is anything, now you will not get any error. So you can make this 3 just to be more visible. Okay, not 30 but 3. You can change the design later on. I'm just leaving this to you. So cool, this works. So we'll just add this here. Border width, just the border width. Cool, you got it. So now it's time for the rest of the values. Now each time we are going to use if else for username, for email, for password, for confirm password. We don't want that. So instead that we want to create a function that will do check blank. We will be passing the parameter username as an array, email, password, and confirm password. Cool. Now let's define this function. So since we are passing the array, it's an input field array. We are going to run the for each loop and going to access one by one function. It's going to be a single input field one by one, and once we get each input field, what we need to do is we need to compare the values. If input field dot value is equal to blank, then we need to show the error message. In this time we cannot pass the username, but we will be getting individual value. So input field, and you can let me show you the problem, or if there is no error, then show the success message. Again, the input field. If you click on submit, everything is blank now. Click on submit. You can see username is blank, because for loop is running 4 times because we have 4 in field. Now each time we need different value. For that, what we'll do is I'm going to pass the ID. So let's use the template literal, which is vatic dollar input field dot ID. Since we have unique ID, username, email, password, and confirm password, for each input field you'll be getting username, email, password. Now what we need to do is we want to make the first letter capital. So for that, to get this, I would need make uppercase. So this is a function. We're passing the ID, create the function. So here we will be just getting the IDs of the input field. Now we just need to return. If you do like this, there will be no change. You will be getting ID. So now we need to get the first letter. So char at 0. Refresh it. You will be getting each first letter word on the error message. We need to make this 2 uppercase. It's a function. Now first letter is capital. Now after that, we want to get the ID, which is IDs dot slice, and it should slice from, actually it's plus, it should slice from 1, leaving the 0th letter. So first letter is capital, you can see on all elements. So I believe we have made the blank validation. Now it's time for the email validation. So check valid email. We need to pass the email here. So clear this function. We will be getting the email, which is email input field. Now we need to run a regex. Just get into the Google and you'll get the regex. I'll just show you the code. So this is a regex, and we are testing. If the regex passes, then show the success message. If it fails, then pass the input field and again pass the custom message. Let's check now. Make this blank. If this is not blank, you'll be getting the error message. You'll be getting the success message, success sign. Now if it is valid, you're getting the green signal. If it is not valid, you'll be getting the error. By this time we are that's a problem. You can see both the functions are colliding. So to ignore this, what we can do is, as of now, let's just skip the colliding part. We'll look at this at the end of the video. Now the email validation is done. The email you need to pass the regex here, and we are testing the regex with the input field value. As you can see, we have passed the email. The email is just the input field, and we are passing the input field value. And here it's this inp rather than just inp. Cool. So we're passing email dot values. We are adjusting the value here, and here we are passing the input email. Let's check. I think it was not because of collide, it is because of the mistake which we have made, because we are just directly copy paste the input. That's the reason. Now you can see if it is valid, you're getting the error message. If it is not valid, you will get the success message. So the second part is done. Now it's time for the confirm. It's really very simple. We have to check match. Here we need to pass the two input field 1, input field 2. Just create this function inp1 and inp2. Now get these value. If inp1 input field 1 dot value is equal to input field value, confirm password value. If it is same, then we need to show the success message. So success on two input field. So else, if there is an error, then we need to show error on two input field. Show error on input field 1, password does not match, and on second input field also, which is confirm password input field. So if it is same, then success message. If it is not same, then show error message. So that's the catch here. If you refresh and click on submit, it is going to say success, because both the time the values of the input field is space. It is nothing. It is nothing for now. So if it is nothing, so success message. So else if this value is not blank, if it is blank, and again else if input to field is also blank, then show the error message, password cannot be blank. So this is for second. Don't forget to change the input field 2, which is for confirm password. Now it would work. So you can see input field 1 dot value is equal to blank, then show error. Save this, refresh it, click on submit. Okay, that's a problem. It's treating both of them as success. We can do one thing: instead of passing multiple times, just directly use the AND statement. Check match. Yes, if it is same, then so success. Okay, the problem is if it is not same, then show error. Please change the position. Yes, because of the now this cannot be blank. If there is something, password doesn't match. So the order also matters. I believe we have completed this. If it is not blank, valid email address, submit. If it is one is blank, password does not match, give the same, and now it match. Now there is one more thing, you have to check the length. So check length for the username, and minimum value is 3, maximum value is 10. Again for the password, minimum value is 3, maximum value is 10. Let's create this function. function check length. This is input field, either uh, username or either password. This is min value and this is max value. We're going to check if the input field dot value dot length is less than 3, then show the error message on the input field saying that length must be greater than 3, else if if it input field value is greater than max value, again show the error saying that must be less than max value, which is 10, else show the success message on the input field. Let's try the value 1 for submit. Must be greater than 3. 2, 3, submit, error message. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It should be green now. If I add one more value, it should give an error. Must be less than 10. I believe the scope of this video is done. Thank you so much for listening.